Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. NASCAR is about to come to an end for 2024, with only 4 drivers left in the hunt at the final race in Phoenix. Two-time champion Joey Logano goes up against reigning champion Ryan Blaney, William Byron, who's in the final 4 for the second year in a row, and young upstart Tyler Reddick in the chase for the first time, and surely not the last. Whoever comes out on top in Phoenix out of these 4 drivers will win the NASCAR Cup in 2024. The thing that gets me is, Kyle Larson took 6 wins in 2024, and yet he is not in with a shout, and that just seems wrong. And that makes me think the playoffs are such a strange way of sorting things out. Sure, it guarantees a fight for the championship at the final race, but is it the fairest way to decide it? And does it actually mean less cars have a chance of winning than if NASCAR had a normal point system? So let's calculate what NASCAR would look like in 2024 if it did have a normal point system. The question was, which point system? Well, I was going to go with Formula 1, but it feels wrong only giving points to 10 cars, when there are nearly twice as many in a NASCAR race than there is in a Formula 1 race. So I went with the DTM. 25 for first, 20 for second, down to a single point for 15th, ignoring qualifying and fastest laps. So let's redo the entire NASCAR 2024 championship so far, and see if the DTM point system would change anything. Make sure you subscribe, and let's jump into the video. I'm not going to go through every race individually because we'd be here till the start of the 2025 season, but just as an idea of what we are doing, and because it's one of the big races of the year, William Byron won the Daytona 500 and so gets the maximum 25, from Alex Bowman in second who gets 20, Christopher Bell with 16, Corey LaJoie with 13, Bubba Wallace 11, Allmendinger technically doesn't count, but he did finish 6th, so for simplicity, we'll keep him in with 10. John Hunter Nemechek with 9. Eric Jones with 8. Noah Gragson with 7. Chase Briscoe with 6. Kyle Larson with 5. Kyle Busch 4. Zane Smith 3. Chase Elliott 2. And Martin Truex Jr. with 1. That is how the points are going to play out. And so let's go through the next 34 races and see what changes and see if there is a championship battle at the end of it all. Atlanta had almost a completely different set of point scorers, with Daniel Suarez winning and sharing the championship lead. Kyle Larson won Las Vegas and closed right up to the new leader, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney kept that lead through Phoenix but didn't score in Bristol, and after 5 races shares the lead in the championship with Christopher Bell. Another bad round for Blaney at COTA gives Bell the lead. William Byron and amazingly Ty Gibbs are the only other driver with more than 50. Christopher Bell extended the lead at Richmond but failed to score in Martinsville, and William Byron, taking his second win there, gives him a big lead after taking 3 wins. And he keeps that lead through Texas and Talladega. Even after not scoring at Dover, Byron has an impressive lead. Whilst Bell has scored nothing in 4 races, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin are closing in slightly, and Truex and Keselowski are doing well. Nearly at the halfway point of the normal season, Kyle Larson seizes the lead at Kansas with a win, and Denny Hamlin also breaks the 100 mark. And then at the halfway point, Brad Keselowski takes a win, and with Larson not scoring, let's look at the top 16 in the points at this stage. William Byron leads with 125, Larson 124, Hamlin 119, Keselowski 110, Elliott 99, Truex 98, Reddick 95, Bowman and Bell on 90, Ty Gibbs 85, Blaney 75, Buescher 73, Gragson 60, Wallace and Chastain 57, and Kyle Busch in 16th with 55. Joey Logano is not even in the top 16. Reddick and Byron are only hanging around the top 10, whilst the likes of Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs are doing very well with this system. Let's see if that changes with the next 13 races, starting with the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte. Christopher Bell took the win here, but it's Keselowski and Hamlin that closed right up on William Byron, and Denny Hamlin took the lead from Byron after finishing second in Illinois. And then Kyle Larson takes it at Sonoma, with Michael McDowell and others stopping many of the other top drivers taking good points. Ryan Blaney finally woke up and scored a win at Iowa that finally brought him over the 100 barrier, still a long way off the top drivers. Byron jumped back to the top of the pile, but New Hampshire mixed up the results again. Christopher Bell jumps back to the lead, but only 1 point ahead of Kyle Larson. Joey Logano won in Nashville. He still hasn't reached 100 points after 19 races. Chicago closes it all up again, with Larson leading by a point from Tyler Reddick, Byron and Bell close by. Ryan Blaney wins again at Pocono and starts to close up on the top cars. Hamlin and Bowman score good points here as well, but it's Tyler Reddick who now leads in the points. Kyle Larson snatches it back with a win at the Brickyard and is the first to break 200 points. Back at Richmond, and we had the controversial win for Austin Dillon. He is nowhere near the top 16, so don't worry about it. Tyler Reddick is back in control with only a few races before what would normally be the playoffs, and he took the win in Michigan, which gives him a big lead. The next two races were tough for Reddick, but we got a shock win for Harrison Burton, guaranteeing him a playoff place, but in our system, he is nowhere near the top 16. Cody Ware becomes the 40th different driver to finish in the top 15. Amazingly, going into the last race before the 16, Tyler Reddick has a big lead. He loses some of it at Darlington, but after 26 races, this is what the standings would look like. Tyler Reddick leads with 252 points. Bell and Larson are close together in second. Hamlin and Byron have over 200 points. Keselowski, Elliott and Bowman have started to drift away. Boucher, Gibbs and Busch, Truex Jr., Wallace, Chastain and Joey Logano just squeaks into the top 16. So whilst Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain and Chris Boucher missed out in real life, in this scenario they beat out Chase Briscoe and Daniel Suarez, who are 17th and 18th. Austin Cindric, who's in 23rd, and Harrison Burton, who's down in 27th. But going into the final stretch of races, what we are looking for is who will still be in with a shot at the final race. Will it be more than 4 drivers? Well, right now, Tyler Reddick has a clear lead and might ruin this whole exercise, but we of course know the playoffs were not very good for him. They were good for Joey Logano, and maybe this is where he'll surge to the top of the pile. He took the win at Atlanta and is now just 123 points behind Tyler Reddick. Next up was the Glen. Chris Boucher won here from Shane Van Gisbergen, who gets some points on the board, but not many of the top drivers scored decent points here. Kyle Larson wins in Bristol, and he and Christopher Bell close right up to Tyler Reddick. Only 8 points between the three. Ross Chastain wins in Kansas. He's only 100 points off the top, with William Byron in second, getting his first decent result for a while. Because Chastain won in Kansas, Christopher Bell jumps Tyler Reddick by a point. Ricky Stenhouse wins at Talladega, another out there shout, but William Byron is starting to score well in the running, whilst others start to hit some bad results. Kyle Larson hit back with a win on the Roval, and is now tied on points with Christopher Bell with 4 races left to go. Logano takes a third win in Las Vegas, but he is still a long way behind the leaders. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson are the only two over 300 points, and they have pulled away from the pack. But Tyler Reddick and William Byron also have an outside chance with 2 to go. So let's look at our final race. The one that happened just last weekend at Martinsville. Ryan Blaney took the win, but he was already out of it. No points for Christopher Bell, but Larson scores enough to make it close. William Byron scores, but falls just short of having a chance in the championship. And so into the final round, it would be a straight fight between Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. Bell has a 9-point lead, and so would need to be second if Kyle Larson won in Phoenix. And to me, personally, that's better than 4 drivers on the same points. It offers a greater tactical spectacle. Who doesn't love trying to work out the maths on the fly? Maybe this is a case of personal opinion, but what is interesting is the final 4 drivers wouldn't be in the title fight. Shows how imbalanced the playoffs are in that respect. Okay, so the top position that would be going into the final race, and so on not the final standings, go as follows. Christopher Bell leads with 326, Larson second with 317, Byron 298, Reddick 292, Hamlin 274, Blaney 261, Elliott 243, Keselowski 212, Bowman 200, Boucher 183, Chastain 182, Logano 181, Gibbs 158, Truex 149, Wallace 148 and Busch 139. So the final 4 in the playoffs actually finish 3rd, 4th, 6th and 12th. Joey Logano is actually 136 points away from Christopher Bell, and yet he can win the title and Bell can't. Absolutely crazy. Harrison Burton got into the playoffs after a freak win, but in my system, he's only 31st. A couple of standout drivers who did a lot better with the DTM points are firstly Bubba Wallace, who climbed to 15th instead of 18th, and Ross Chastain, who finished 11th instead of 19th. This is just fantasy, of course, it has no reflection on the real thing, but it is interesting that the top point scorers are not in the final 4. NASCAR comes to an end, and Joey Logano has a chance to finish as champion, despite 11 drivers having a better season than him, one of which didn't even make the playoffs. It's a very unfair system, and I'm not convinced it makes the championship more exciting. Maybe it makes the finale more exciting, but did you see how many times the championship lead changed through the season? Brad Keselowski was 4th after 13 races, and he ended up way behind that. That would make the entire NASCAR season far more interesting in my opinion. It is just my opinion though, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you prefer my system using the DTM points, or do you just really like the current playoff system? Maybe you have a completely different system that's even better. I haven't accounted for fastest laps, qualifying, laps led, or stages, but I wanted this to be as simple as possible, for my sake more than yours. Enjoy the NASCAR finale this weekend. My money will be on Tyler Reddick to win, because of the 4, I like him the most. Condolences to Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson for the title fight we will never see. Make sure you subscribe for more incredible motorsport insights. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.